opportunity and excellence, providing a way for generations of learners. What I also know from having served in higher education, I'll say 35 plus years, I'm not going to go up any higher. From here on, you only hear me say 35 plus years. What I know about Bowie State University is this is a very, very special place. It's a very special place of learning because of dedicated faculty. Faculty, where are you in the room? Get them around in the committed staff. Where are the staff in the room? Amazing, bright, talented bulldogs. Where are my students in the room? Passionate alumni. Where are you in the room? University, where are our friends of our beloved BSU? Let's give them a round of applause. It is because of all of you, our campus community, that we have realized amazing, tremendous successes. And we continue to excel in our teaching, our research, and overall educational experience. And at times, like every organization, we have faced obstacles before, and we will face them again. And today, as in the past, I want to encourage our campus community to remember on whose shoulders we stand. It wasn't easy for those who came before, and yet we are here today. And not let any one event, my BSU community, please don't let any one event in my time or beyond, don't let any one event define who we are. Once again, I want to thank the many who have reached out in support of our campus community, our elected officials at all levels, starting with our governor, Wes Moore, called to express his concern and to say, President Rowe, what do you need? County Executive Angela Alsabrook reached out. Senator Van Hollen, Congressman Steny Hoyer, Speaker Adrian Jones, Senate President Bill Ferguson. Yesterday on this platform when we did a briefing for the press, standing beside me and our team here addressing this issue was our very own Bulldog County Councilman Calvin Hawkins. Please give them all a round of applause. Very shortly, we will be joined by State's Attorney Aisha Braveboy, she's in the room already. Please give her a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you for being with us. This session today is a beginning. It's the beginning of a process to try and understand what we have all experienced and to help us determine the best way to begin the healing process for our campus community. Here at BSU, we pride ourselves on our close-knit community. We talk about ourselves as a family, and you feel it when you walk onto this campus. And like all families, when one of us is impacted, we are all impacted. Today, we are coming together because there were individuals on our campus who were harmed, who were shot, and we hope and pray for their speedy recovery. But we need to find out the root of how these things come to happen, and more importantly, what we can do as a campus community to make sure that it doesn't happen again, and to help those out in our community who are engaging in violent acts, needless violent acts, and putting people at harm. Today, we will likely not get to every question you might have on your minds, and we will certainly not get to all the answers. And I do wish I had all the answers, but I don't. I wish I could tell you that I do. But before you leave here today, it is our hope to ensure you know about the resources this campus and in our community is offering to everyone here today and across our campus community. Today is about reclaiming our community, to let everyone know our values, what we stand for. There are some out in the world hearing about BSU, and they are trying to define who we are. They don't know us. It's up to us to make sure they know who we are. We talk about it all the time. It's about the rankings that we're number 16 in the US News and World Reports. Yeah, you can applaud that. It's about the outstanding research in the STEM areas and the fact that we're a top producer of people graduating in the sciences, and computer science, and AI, and nursing to provide that pipeline of nurses. We are preparing educators, as we have always done, making sure that our children have a pathway to education. But folks don't know who we are. We have to let them know who we are and what we stand for. So when you leave here today, use your voices to define and help others understand this is our history, this is our legacy, here's who we are the Bulldogs, and we have always continued to provide excellence in education. Number one, in education. We are a community of learners. If they don't remember anything else, you tell them we are a community of learners. We are a community with values. We stick together and we make sure that everyone has a pathway to education. That's our mission. So today, let me set the stage for this time. It's going to be brief, and I know it will go by in no time. But during this short time that we're together, today is the beginning of the healing process. And as someone who has a background in counseling psychology, my PhD is in counseling psychology, what the lessons have taught me is you have to start with awareness. Are we aware of what has happened and how it has impacted us? So in a few moments, I'm going to ask that Chief Cummings come forward and share with you, to the best of our ability, what we know about the incident that happened at the end of our homecoming. We are going to share with you information about the resources. Today, I want to thank our counseling services who stepped up right away, set up in this very room, counseling services. They were here yesterday, and they've been here. They're here today. You can give them a round of applause. You are going to hear from State's Attorney Ray Floyd to share information from her perspective of how our larger community is there for us. Following Chief Cummings, you will also hear from our shared governance leaders here at the University of BSU. As much as I'd love to say I'm the one running this place, what I know is there's a team around this campus, faculty, staff, and students, and other leaders who are leading the way, representing each one of our constituencies on this campus. You'll have a chance to meet those shared governance leaders because they will provide even greater support for you and also that vehicle to listen and bring your recommendations, your ideas back to the senior leadership of the university so that we can chart a course forward. So at this time, I'd like to welcome to the stage the Director of Public Safety and Security for Bowie State University, the Chief of Police here, Chief Mark Cummings. Would you please come forward? Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. In light of our events this past weekend, I would like to start off by saying I think we had a tremendous week prior to Saturday. We were very safe. Walked around the campus, it was very festive, everyone was enjoying themselves. And I think we did everything we could to safeguard the campus. On Saturday, we had an event that is probably most unlikely to happen at Bowie State University. And that was, we had some poor actors, bad actors, who were on our campus, not students from any university. And they decided that they wanted to do something that is not equitable with us. The groups we were able to see had an argument, and there was some contention between the groups that were there. And eventually someone, of course, pulled a weapon and there were shots fired, and unfortunately 2 people were tragically shot. Thank God that they are in stable condition now. So there was no loss of life. We took every measure that we could to make sure that we were safe. I'd like to thank all of our partners who were involved. That was the Maryland State Police, Prince George's County Police Department. We also had special police officers who were armed guards, and of course the many unarmed guards that we had throughout the campus, and my own police officers that we had all hands on deck. So I'd like to thank my police officers and police departments for that. So prior to any of these events happening, President Grove made sure that we had everything up to snuff and in place. And that was by increasing our lighting to ensure that there were no dark areas on our campus, more than enough unarmed security guards in the amount of over 35. She asked me to reach out to our partners. We had 10 troopers on that day, 6 county police officers, the 35 officers I mentioned, 10 armed guards, and they were on the exteriors and perimeter of the university. We really thought we had it. But we also realized that as the day continued, that the crowds were coming in. And we made sure as we monitored the crowds throughout the day that maybe we should start doing things to make even more preventions happen. We ended up closing the doors of the campus so no other vehicular traffic and pedestrian traffic could come on to ensure that we could control the crowds. And it was at that time we made several very good decisions that this shooting happened. But we want to make sure that everyone is aware of how to move about when tragedies happen. We always talk about run, hide, fight, and that is the mantra of Dr. Burke when we have critical incidents, active shooter, or whenever we issue a shelter in place. I really want you to key in on that. Because running, of course, if possible, to escape the threat. Hiding, if it's possible, to make sure that you're out of the sight of the threat. And if everything comes to naught, we have to fight. And that means take whatever you can and try to overcome whatever's happening. But when we say shelter in place, we really want you to understand, we want you to stop movement, get into a safe space until we lift that shelter in place. And that means either that's going into your rooms, staying within a closed environment building. Please stop your movement, because at that point, you got to realize there's either a weather event that's happening or there's another critical event that the police department is going toward, so we can secure whatever is going on the campus. And once we issue the all clear, then please, you can continue your movement, but we really want you to be safe. I spoke last week about community partnerships, and I told you that you absolutely embraced me when I came to this campus. You made me believe in the Bowie Bowl, and I believe this is our house. And as we own this house, we have to make sure that our guests and our visitors are going to be and have the same decorum that we have as Bowie students, faculty, and staff. So I want you to remember that when we're having these events and you're inviting people, make sure that they are going to keep the house cleaning rules that you have. Ensure that they're going to treat your campus the way you treat your campus. So just in the future, and as we continue, we're going to continue to enhance our security. We're going to add more police officers. We're going to continue to keep guards in strategic areas. We're going to continue to improve our lighting and our camera system. So there's a lot of things that we're doing. If you notice, our gates and they're on timers. We start controlling the entrances and exits of all of our entry points. And we're going to continue to do everything we can to ensure the safety of our faculty, staff, and students here at Bowie State University. So I thank you, and I ask that you continue to be Bowie bold as we get through this tragedy. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Cummings. I want to go back over just a few other items. Yesterday, you mentioned that we held a press briefing here where the media was invited in, and we went over the details as you just heard them from Chief Cummings. Once again, this is an ongoing investigation by the state police. They are looking into the matter as quickly as possible. They will continue to provide briefings to the campus as much as possible. We don't know all the answers, as I said earlier, but as soon as we become aware, we will convey that back to the campus. In preparation, the chief mentioned that we had put in additional security guards as well as police officers. It's important to know that we have been upgrading our security systems and our safety systems for some time now, including ensuring that we have a different lock system on the various doors around the campus. The blue lights that are on the campus, they're there and they are all working, ensuring that if ever there's an emergency, you press the blue lights in order to convey an emergency back to the police department. For anyone who ever, we encourage you to, if you see something, say something. You've heard that over and over again. That's a mantra that I have as well. Contact 4040 to help with enforcement. We will continue to upgrade our systems, including our camera system. Technology affords us the opportunity to have greater recognition of license plates and also facial recognition. So we will be coming back to this campus to talk about additional upgrades as technology is evolving. We are a campus that is focused on STEM. We talk about that all the time. And so there are these opportunities that we didn't have just 5 years ago to have greater surveillance on the campus. And with surveillance, we want to have that discussion with each and every one of you around here and have your voices heard to ensure you understand what that means and have the right balance of your privacy as well as making sure that you do feel safe. We're exploring a number of new initiatives, and I ask for your cooperation as we explore these and make sure that we have your voices heard. So in addition, as you heard from the chief, we're going to be looking at our systems and reevaluating where are we today. A few years ago, we had discussions about whether we need metal detectors in our residence halls. We got some pushback on that. We're in a different environment today, folks. Do we have to have that conversation again? I see some heads nodding. Not all of them are nodding. These are serious and very tough questions, I understand, but they're for a reason, because our environment is changing. And we have to understand that it is back to us to keep our campus safe and to find that right balance. So as we, in continuing on with the program today, I'd like for our state's attorney, Aisha Bravo, if she might come forward and share some input and insights with you. Please welcome her to the issue. Welcome her back.
And I know I will not be before you long because I'm sure there are questions that you have. But good afternoon, everyone. I'm State's Attorney Aisha Bravoy, but I'm not just here today as the State's Attorney. I'm also here as a proud adjunct professor at Bowie State University. So this is personal. This is personal. I'm from this community, so all crime is personal, but this hits home because this is a campus that I love, a campus that my oldest niece attends, and she loves her school. She is just bulldog proud, and so she was on campus the night that this incident occurred. And when I found out, I called her immediately to find out, where she was, but she was safe. But it was heart-wrenching. And so I know that for so many parents, friends, grandparents, aunties like me, we were concerned. We were concerned about the safety of our children. But what we are also very proud of, and what we also know is that Bowie State is a university on the move. And this incident is not going to slow Bowie State down. The problem came to Bowie. That's important to know. But I also believe that the solution to the problems that we see, not just what happened on Friday night, you're right, Saturday night. Not just what happened on Saturday night, but what has happened in communities all across this country, that we need solutions coming from a university like Bowie State. I think your president said it best. We have to strike that right balance. We absolutely desire public safety. Everyone deserves to live in a safe community. But people also should feel that they have freedoms and that those freedoms and their privacy are protected as well. And how do we strike those balances? How do we ensure that we have laws that enforce the law, that send a message, but that don't over incarcerate people as well? I believe that the answer lies here on this campus. I believe that you have a visionary president. You have deans at this university that are the best in the country. And the students, the young people who attend this university are among the best and brightest of their generation. And so while we were all concerned about what happened during homecoming, I'm also concerned about what's going to happen after homecoming. How will we use this unfortunate incident to provide a pathway forward in our criminal justice system? I think that Bowie State University can and will lead us. And I'm just happy to be a part of this campus that I know will be the voice of tomorrow in our criminal justice arena. So thank you all. I look forward to your input and the questions and everything that will be discussed this afternoon. I also want to thank my principal deputy, Jason Abbott, as well as Deputy Perry Taylor, if you could both stand up. They will both be working with campus police as well as state police throughout the investigation of this incident. And to the extent individuals are arrested and charged in this case, these individuals will be handling the prosecution of those cases. And so we look forward to getting justice for our campus and our larger community. Thank you.
And so everyone, we want to give you some time to hear from you about what questions you might have leading up with regard to the incident. And then we're going to move on to talk about the resources that are available, not just today, but going forward to support you and to support our community in the healing process. So this time I would ask if, are there microphones in the audience? We have microphones here. If anyone has any questions or if you'd like to share any comments about the incident itself, because we'll take some questions. You also are streaming this and there are going to be questions put into the chat room, I'm sure. Any questions that are not addressed in this session, we will be referring back to our shared governance groups and getting the answers back put up on our website as well. So we will get the answers to you because the time is short. Is there a question here?
We do have one question here, and then I'll come over to you.
Thank you.
As much a question as comments about what happened, because I was here and I got here around, I guess around 3:30-ish. And what I saw was just so unbelievable at 3:30, because I had told people, I said, well, you know what, I'm not gonna try to come on campus because it's gonna be hard. I'm going down to the Bridge Road thinking I'm gonna bypass all of this. Well, you get there and there was hardly any place to park there. So this was probably one of the most different crowds I have ever seen on this campus. When I left around 8:30, we were looking around and we were like, this isn't good. Because we saw where you couldn't have gotten through one crowd to get over to the student center because it was so it was thick, really thick. So we went a different route, but even leaving, you could look and it was just like, I said, y'all, this isn't good. We really need to leave because it wasn't good. And then when we got home, within about an hour and a half, we were getting text messages about God. So the question, from where I was told it happened, how do you stop traffic from going into all of these different areas where you park? on the campus. For instance, if it was where I was told it was, how do you stop people? Is there a gate there to stop people getting on the parking lot?
So thank you for your question. With regard, as you heard the chief say, and why don't you just come and stand with me here? Because I have a feeling you're gonna just toss up and down on that step there. With regard to, the measures that were taken as you heard the chief say, as the crowd grew, the gates came down and cars were stopped from coming onto the campus. What then happened is you saw individuals parking in other areas and then walking. That's a little bit more challenging because of the openness of the campus. All of these, whatever questions you have going forward, I want to reiterate, we have heard some of the questions and comments about, well, I saw this or I felt that. We have already, as a senior leadership team, taken some of those under advisement, and we are going to be working through, again, those decisions that need to be made. It's hard to say, well, was the crowd different because of what? We're coming out of a pandemic, and some of you in this room may have never seen what a homecoming looks like at Bowie State University. Typically, we've had a lot of cars up and down 197. Does that mean we need to partner more with the county around traffic control? Those are things that need to be addressed. So I also want to remind you, there were a lot of events. This slide that's up on the screen here has images from different events throughout a week-long experience for homecoming. On that night, when you say, well, nothing's gonna come good of that, actually in this room was a really nice alumni event, so I heard. And I think Mr. Darren Swain might be in the room, and there's some of you who, if you'll admit you were in here, having a few steps and dancing around here and having a good time. There were some very good things happening even later on in the evening. So with regard to where the incident happened, there were police officers dispersed across the campus and actually not too far from the location of where this incident happened. But that speaks to the brazenness, because we advertise, and I know many of you saw the news, where the news was highlighting Bowie State University has increased security. That was put out there. So for anyone to come onto our campus and engage in that behavior, that speaks to a different issue. Because it wasn't for the lack of security or police officers for our concert. We had the SWAT team here. Seriously, the SWAT team. And as they walked into the venue, the students and everyone applauded them. We were so happy to see them. So we had security, we had police officers, we had cameras. You heard the long list. But in terms of the crowd control, that's something that we will continue to evaluate. And that goes to the balancing too. Do we then say, well, we're just going to, from here on, have just our people show IDs. We're all wearing our IDs today, right? I'm not quizzing anybody, but you're supposed to wear your IDs, right? Do we all agree that the only people going forward on this campus should be the folks who wear their IDs? How can we be a campus community, a public university, bring in, you gotta let some air come in, folks, to learn. What's the right balance? So, Chief, I'll let you handle, please.
So as President Rose said, society is changing, and I know we're aware of it. And if you look at what happened at Bowie State, the police department is diagonally 70 feet across, 70 yards across from where the shooting took place. So this is not for a lack of the security, it's the way society is changing. And violent offenders are becoming more brazen and more violent. So we are going to continue, as President Rose said, to enhance and continue to add and safeguard, and we're going to continue to adjust and make sure that we try to trend to what's happening around us.
Thank you. Additional questions?
You got one right on this time?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Jan Beulah Burt, and I'm a faculty member here. And I am a veteran of HBCU homecoming, so I'm a graduate of Howard University in Chu. And I brought my nieces with me to homecoming this year, and it was very different. I will definitely say that, and even for them, as we were leaving around 7:30 or so, they said that the climate was very different. And again, Howard is in the middle of, Washington DC, so we're used to seeing a lot of different people. And I think again, like one of the things that struck me when I was driving home was, being here on Bowie's campus, one of the things that I cherish is, whenever I come to campus, students look you in the face and say, good morning, good afternoon. They hold the door for me. But the students that I saw this weekend, not all of them, were the people that I saw this weekend, and I won't even say it was majority of them, did not have that same demeanor. And I know it made me also think about, when you're little and you go out with your parents, you have to go to church, you have to go to a department store, you have to go to a restaurant. You get the speech of, don't touch anything, don't look at anything, don't ask me anything. And like, not to do that. When you see some kid acting up and you're like, oh my God, that's horrible. But again, it's something that, again, I grew up doing, and I believe that the students here at university also, grew up having that same respect for one another. It is impossible for the police to be everywhere at every moment, which is why we have to empower our students and alumni to be able to say, I'm sorry, but that's not acceptable behavior. And one of the behaviors that I saw that I was mortified by as a state institution, as we all in this room probably know, is the number of people walking around with open bottles of alcohol and not hiding it. We're just, holding it up like, look, I've got tequila. And then also a number of people who were who had coolers every corner I went to on campus that were selling mixed drinks in these little pouches. They weren't, who knows if, of course they weren't sanitary. Who knows if they were checking, I know they weren't checking IDs to make sure the kids, the students were, or people that were there were old enough to drink. But again, what I'm trying to say is that I applaud, again, the week's activities, although I wasn't here. And I applaud, homecoming up until a certain point. And I don't want to, frisk everybody and put metal detectors everywhere. I think that we're not there yet. But I do think that we should be in a place where we feel comfortable talking to one another, greeting one another, speaking to one another, looking at one another, building relationships, which I think the police could, the campus police could do a better job of having relationships with students. I saw them all on the perimeter, but I didn't really see any on campus. But I don't, I'm only one person. But again, building the relationships and understanding also that we have, and especially for the young men or women who were, who suffered from the shooting, they're 19, they're still adolescents. And again, we as professionals should be aware of things, the positives and negatives associated with that. A lot of students were Instagramming, thinking about watching these reality shows like College Life and like, oh, I can turn up. I'm just gonna go to turn up and be inappropriate. So again, it's gotta be a holistic approach to this, understanding the college student development issues, understanding the dynamic of the haves and the have-nots, understanding again, like that faculty, students, staff, like we should be around. We should, be seeing students and looking at them in the eye and saying like, don't do that. Because again, that's where it comes from. It's relationship building, in my opinion.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Quincy Julian. I'm a student here. I'm also the junior class president. So what I saw and basically heard about Saturday is about officers here and about fights that happened. And in terms of the number of officers and security period, it was around what, 60 plus? Is that a good estimate? All right, so 60 plus. There were 3 fights that I know about for certain happened, and there's video proof. One of them were on plots. It was on an AKA plot. One of them was in front of the SGRO plot. And then one was in front of where I stay, which is in Haley. I don't know where security was for that, but that's crazy. For one, it's on a plot. There should be security outside CMRC, in front of every single plot, number one, and in front of every single building. I heard that people broke into, I think, the library, the downstairs library. I don't know if that's for certain, but
If we could not do secondhand, because
okay,
unfortunately.
those 3 fights did happen.
Rumors start and we have no evidence of anyone breaking into the library.
Okay,
Thank you.
those 3 fights for sure happened. So I don't understand why there was an insecurity over there to stop it. That's one. Was there like a whole lot of planning in terms of having security everywhere? Because I know that the person I talked to said that she didn't see any officers where she was. I didn't personally see any at my Q plot. So that's another thing. In terms of being able to get more than 60 officers, I don't know the ratio, so you can fill me up on that, but I don't think that's enough. And to have, and not blaming Morgan students, but to have an influx of students on top of regular people coming to our campus, guaranteed over 1,000. 60, that's not enough in my opinion.
Thank you for your comments.
Good afternoon. I am Tijuana Phillips. I'm also a student here at Bowie State, despite my young age of 55. Two things I wanted to mention. One was that I noticed coming out of the student center on Friday, the smell of marijuana. So I know that it's forbidden on campus, so it's not just the outsiders that are doing things that are inappropriate, because that was a student. And additionally, I wanted to know what the system is here for notification, because the email, but I didn't get a text message. My daughter, who's in Miami right now, actually texted me that there was a shooting on campus. I didn't even know. So I know when I was a student at PGCC, which I just graduated May 20th, we would get notifications via text message as well as email. And it would have been a lot more helpful if we got notification that way as well.
Thank you for your comments. A comment about the smoking of marijuana on the campus. It is prohibited. It is an issue that across the nation we're going to have to deal with. It is legal, however, it's prohibited on our campus. But trying to police that, to enforce that, is a challenge. Throughout the society, if you go throughout any city, you're smelling it all over. So I can't stand here and say, here's the answer. I think this is yet another issue we're going to have to wrestle with as a society of what does this mean with the legalization. The question you asked is so important about how do we notify in the case of an emergency. We have what we call the B's alert. And we have been encouraging every student since at the time we start getting marketing materials to sign up for the B's alert. You can go onto our website and sign up for that. And even when we have smaller issues such as the weather, we had some threats to weather with a possible hurricane. We reminded the campus once again to sign up for the B's alert, because an alert did go out to the campus that there was a shooting. And so please, if you did not get that alert, then go onto our system, please. If something's wrong with the system, then check with, there's information on where to call, but make sure everyone across this campus should be signed up for the emergency alert system. Please, that's our main way of communicating during the incident and then following when everything's cleared out. But if you're having challenges, there can be some issues sometimes with your provider. Please get those straightened out so that you're alerted. We're going to take a couple more questions, and I want Mr. Swain, I'm going to ask you to come forward and share a few remarks about homecoming, our tradition, and anything else you'd like to share on behalf of the Alumni Association. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Tori, and I am an adjunct in computer science and business. And
this is my first homecoming, and I made sure that I stuck around for the whole thing. I ended up taking my husband back home after the football game, and I just came to browse. And I really want to commend Bowie for holding the event and allowing some of the flexibility for the students and the fun that they were having. Like the young lady said up here, who's in my age group, there was a smell of marijuana and I got dizzy. I'm telling you, I've never smoked it myself, but while I was walking around, but I was able to talk to a couple of the students who I saw doing it and say, hey, you know, that's not permitted on campus. And so I was just gonna make a suggestion to, the captain and just say, we could probably solicit more parents and, you know, just faculty to walk around with shirts and just, you know, we can increase the force that way because the students did put it out. They were very respectful and they went on their way. I don't know if we went on and did it afterwards, but I just want to, you know, bring that, we can increase our forces by soliciting community members. And the last thing I want to say, let's solicit our clergy to cover the school and pray. Yeah. And, you know, operate in that way. That's ultimately what we're going to need.
Thank you for those comments. Is Reverend Gerald Folsom, you're right in front of me. Reverend, could I ask you to come up for just a moment from the county exec's office? Please help me welcome Reverend Folsom.
Thank you. On behalf of the county exec, as you know, she's already talked, but I'm the faith-based liaison for the county, and I talked to Dr. Bro this morning. And also I'm the pastor, the new pastor of Greater Mount Nebo AME Church, which is not far. And so on behalf of that, we prayed yesterday for the students, but we want to get involved more. And so we asked the Dr. Bro that we would be here and bring some ministers. And also, but we would be here just in case we could bring it back to the county for resources that might be needed. And also anything that Greater Mount Nebo could do. But we want to be involved. I'm with you on that one. And so we are forming this partnership and we'll be here for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Reverend Folsom. And for the last few years, as part of my board of visitors, I have an ad hoc committee for spirituality, and we meet monthly. It's made up of faith-based leaders throughout the area representing a number of different faiths, Christianity, Judaism, the Muslim faith. We come together to talk about how we can support students in the holistic development. We approach wellness here at Bowie State University with an 8-dimension wellness model, and spirituality is one of those. We have programs throughout the year to address that. I don't know if we have any from other ministers in the audience. Would you raise your hand if there are any other ministers or faith-based organizations in the back over there? Thank you for being here today. But we will be holding an event later on in the year as a result of those conversations. But know that there are events happening throughout the year to address the spiritual development of our students. Thank you for your comments. And could I have, Mr. Swain, could I have you come up at this time, please, to address the group?
Let me knocking stuff down already, right? Right here on stage. First and foremost, let me just give honor to God for being able to be here as a part of this program today. And let me thank Dr. Bro, first and foremost for her leadership. And yes, that's right. Overall leadership, but certainly the leadership in the midst of these crises that we sometimes tend to have on our campus, because it's easy to, from afar, always look and say what people are doing or not doing, and all those good things. But when you're in the heat of the battle, it's a whole different animal to have to address and be responsible for the safety of little boys and girls and big men and women. I call it, y'all hear what I just did? Little boys and God. And what she was able to do to make sure that the campus was in fact safe, and call on all our community resources on a federal, state, local level to make sure that we in fact made the campus a safe place. So I just really want to thank her and her leadership team for what they did first and foremost. Let's give them another round of applause.
also just wanted to bring just a few very brief remarks, but if we could just, and very briefly, have our any alumni in the room, if you're an alum of Bowie State University, just stand up real quick if you could, just stand up. And if you could just stand up for me. I think that you guys is because I remember back in 1988 when this lonely old little knucklehead guy from Landover, Maryland, via North Carolina, came on campus and thought that he was the creme de la creme and all this other good stuff. And it was in 1988 that we became a Bowie State University. We had just become Bowie State University, as a matter of fact, my freshman year here at Bowie State University, right? So we came, and I remember the alumni embracing this thing called homecoming that was going to be coming up in October, right? Back then, what we would do, and I know some of the alums, that's why I had some of them stand up, we had a bonfire. Oh, I know y'all talk about the bonfire. But that's how, and I wanted to bring that up because we had bonfires then prior to me coming here to Bowie State University, but we never burned anybody's house down. There was never a building burnt down on campus. There was never a fatality with the fire. There was none of that, right, on campus. But the thing was huge. It was like a couple stories high in terms of the actual fire. It was something that we all look forward to. Fire department told us, we were going beyond that, so we had to stop it. The fire department told us we had to stop. But I bring that up because we have grown and we've evolved as a community, but we've never had situations where we had fatalities on our campus for homecoming, right? Homecoming has always been about the celebration of our university, right? 1865, corner Saratoga College. We started in Baltimore, right? We predated Morgan in Baltimore. So our thing is that we are always been about community and building and growing and loving one another. That's what we're about. And then a celebration of our legacy. So to have someone, outsiders, come to our campus when Dr. Grove, and I just want to applaud her again for extending to the Morgan students the opportunity to have something, right, of a homecoming experience here at our game because they didn't have it at their school. So our relationship with Morgan, our relationship with the students and with the broader community has always been one of calm and peace. But there's an element, everyone, that we have to police ourselves. We have to police ourselves. When we see something, we gotta say it in our own way. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You don't gotta necessarily call people out here stuff, but pull them up to the side. Pull up John, little John that know them. Say, John, you gotta tell them to calm down. Pull little Shamika and say, little Shamika, no, you gotta tell little girl she can't do that on campus, right? Just like the young lady said over here. We have to make sure when people come on our campus and want to experience our tradition at Bowie State University or any HBCU, when homecoming is a tradition at all HBCUs that's sacred, right? It's not a time where we look forward to people brandishing guns, especially illegal guns, and I'm sure they were. That's not what the time is for. It's about celebration of what we've done to make our communities better. What we've done to educate the next generation of pioneers, of engineers, of all of those people. It's about what we've done to now start that tradition of excellence for the first generation. I was a first generation college student. So when I came to homecoming, that was my first time anybody in my family ever experienced homecoming. So for us, and for what we have to do in our celebration as alumni of homecoming, we have to police ourselves. We have to make sure that people understand the sanctity of our homecoming experience and the legacy that it represents. When we do that, y'all, when we let people know when they come on our campus, they're in our house, that this is our tradition, this is what we do, we're not gonna have all of those problems. So everybody's gonna take care of each other and to make sure that those folk who come for something different, and as the young lady also said, we felt the different, there was a difference in some of these folk that came on campus. Dr. Bro, I remember in
my good friend Aisha Boy, who is a former colleague of mine. You remember we passed those gun bills in Annapolis to protect the innocent from things like this, right? But laws are just laws, and we don't make sure that people understand that we shouldn't even have to have the laws if you do the right thing. You shouldn't be in a crowd shooting a gun, right? So I want to sit down, Dr. Rose, thank you for allowing me on behalf of the alumni to come up and let everyone know that our tradition is sacred. Homecoming is sacred. And we're not going to allow any element, anybody, anywhere to stop us from celebrating our community. Our community, this is an open community. And we're not going to allow people to have a shutdown, lock it up, and do all those things. We'll take necessary steps, and I'm sure Dr. Rose is going to lay out some of those things that we may have to do in order to protect ourselves, really. But we can't allow folks to take away that tradition that we call homecoming at Bowie State University, homecoming at our HBCUs. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Mr. Swain. Thank you for your leadership of the BSU National Alumni Association for being here today. We have questions online. We're going to take 2 of those questions, and I'll ask our chair governance leaders to come up on the stage afterwards. As I mentioned earlier, we knew we weren't going to get to all the questions and the comments here today. So if you weren't able to get your question answered or your comment addressed, please make sure that you speak with your shared governance leaders. We're going to take that back. University Council meets once a month on Tuesdays. We will be meeting tomorrow. We will continue this dialogue and taking your input because we do have some decisions we have to make about how we move forward and respecting our tradition and our history, but working to keep our communities safe. Mr. Atkins, did you want to stand, identify yourself, and read off the question, please?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Earl. Good afternoon, all. All right. My name is Mike Atkins. I'm the interim vice president for administration and finance. Let me read off 2 of the questions. We understand this is an open campus where BSU consider protocols to limit access to the university or require IDs to enter the campus.
That's a great question, and we spoke a little bit about that. Those are the questions we have to address. Yes, we can certainly have everybody show their ID as they come onto the campus, but I want to remind everyone, when we were going through the pandemic, remember the protocols we went through? It was set up just that way. And not everybody was on board with that. Remember the long lines you had? I see your head shaking because there's a balancing act. So we stop everybody coming through the gate, and we can add on more stop and checkpoints, but it does delay people getting onto the campus. But I will certainly entertain that, and maybe there's a system similar to how we had it set up during the pandemic, where you would log in the morning, you'd have to show a green badge, and before you could get onto the campus, you had to show a green badge that said you had done all your testing and did everything you were supposed to do. So the systems can be set up that way. But is that the balance that we want, that everyone coming through the door, our gates, has to show this or sign in? Your visitors coming to the campus when we have events, what is that protocol? But I'm open to both of those suggestions, yes.
Thank you.
Now, let me just say, as far as a public university, we cannot say only people who have these badges can come onto our campus, and I don't think that's really where we want to be.
Thank you. I do have 2 more. Can you speak to the decision for inviting Morgan State students to BSU's homecoming?
Yes, I can, and it was addressed earlier. In the aftermath of the mass shooting that they had on their campus, where their campus was reeling and undergoing a great deal in their campus community, as we do among our HBCUs, we reach out, as I said at the outset, when one is impacted, you're all impacted. We are a global community. I think to just say, oh, well, that happened over there, and that's their problem. I think that's how we got here, folks. Because there are individuals who are hurting in our society. And at times, it is the time for us to step up and say, what can I do? How can we help? And so it was a way of reaching out to our sister institution in the state of Maryland who had just encountered a horrendous event to say homecoming is about welcoming our guests to our home. But you also remember, before homecoming, we had a session, we talked about the very same items that Mr. Swain just talked about. What does that mean when we invite people into our home? You don't let somebody just come into your home and trash it. You wouldn't accept that in your home. If someone's acting up and misbehaving, you don't say, oh yeah, we'll just hang out some more. You say, either you get it together or you're out of here. And we talked about this before homecoming. But it does take all of us coming together. Yeah, I know it takes a lot of courage to walk up to someone and say, you know what, just as you said earlier, I walked up to that person and I said, is that really how you want to present yourself? It took courage, and please applaud the courage that took. This isn't easy, but we've got to do something to reach out to those who are hurting and say, I see you. You're not some other, you're part of us. And help people value one another. Because I think the devaluing of life and thinking about, well, they're separate and apart. It happened over here, it's not going to happen over here. That's how we got here, folks. So I'm asking all of us, step it up. You talk about spirituality. Where do we stand in this moment for those of you who are spiritual? So I will take responsibility. I'm not going to look to my team. I will take responsibility for extending that branch and saying, come to our home because we're here for you. And if you want to blame someone, if you think there's some issue there, then come and see me. But I would also challenge you to think about, how does that connect to what happened? Where are we going, folks? Because you heard, there were individuals not connected to Morgan State, not connected to Bowie State. So let us move forward as one community. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. Last question. In regards to the shelter-in-place protocol, especially since students are not allowed access to a residential hall, if you are not a resident of that resident home, what are the procedures for lockdown?
Thank you for that very, very important question. At the beginning, you heard the chief, and I'll ask him to give comments too. You heard him say what? In an emergency, if you cannot shelter in place, what do? We should all recite this. Run, hide, fight. If you cannot get into a building, some individuals were trying to line up to get into a building to show their card. If you're 10 deep out here and you think there's an active shooter on this campus, folks, what are you going to do? Run, hide, fight. Get to a place that's safe. Run, get out of Dodge. If you think there's something going on up here, you're going in the opposite direction. Get to a place where you feel safe and secure. Because when we were checking badges, and what the staff encountered is people were trying to show their badge, but if you have 50 people running into a building, that is not the time to be trying to check badges and go through a turnstile and run, hide, fight. That's the kind of, unfortunately, the emergency that you were encountering if you were on campus. And that's the response you need to have to keep yourself safe. All right, so Chief.
And yes, just to echo President Burrow, you have to get as far away from the threat as possible. That's the run element, right? If you're able to run, get away from where that threat is. Because if you're trying to check IDs to get into a building, you're going to start that trampling effect. And then we're going to get hurt, period. So we really want you to start listening to the things we're saying. Run, hide, fight. See something, say something. All the blue lights around the campus, President Burrow mentioned, when you pick it up and you start talking, it gives us the exact location of where you are. So we'll know what's happening. So you have to start employing all those things and all those measures that we went over this morning. President Burrow talks about in her letters and to the campus. We really want you guys to be safe, but we also want you to all, help us help you. You have to say things and help us to enforce and keep you safe, as well as you keep you safe.
Thank you, Chief. We're going to take one final question, Ms. Wedderburn, and then I'm going to ask our shared governance leaders to join me.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Renee Neal Whittington, a sophomore majoring in government with a concentration in political science, and I humbly serve as your current Miss Sophomore for Bowie State University. A few things that I want to address. Currently also serving as NWC Social Media Marketing Director. Some things that were brought to me and some other e-board were that the security that you guys had in place for the residence halls at the time of the shooting were laughing and making kind of derogatory comments while people were trying to take shelter in place. I found that to be completely inappropriate because in these situations, a lot of people don't know that you need to run, fight, and hide. So when you need a shelter in place and you're expecting somebody to take you in and make sure that you're protected, laughing and being derogatory is not the time or place. That's just one of the incidents. I also, unfortunately, had the opportunity to be at Morgan State during their shooting and homecoming, and I would say the difference between that shooting there and the one that happened at Bowie was the awareness. At Morgan's, that shooting was completely random. I wasn't prepared for that at all. But on today's or yesterday's shooting, Saturday, excuse me, I was prepared because I got a message telling us that somebody was planning on shooting the school up. So I think more awareness needs to, really be brought. Yes, this is something, a message went out to students. Another student came to me and gave the message to me as well as another rural court member telling us people had the agenda to do this. So,
did you report that?
Yes, I did. I posted it on social media as quickly as I could in about 5 minutes.
Did you report it to the police?
In that time and place, all I could think to do was run, hide, and fight, like you said. So after I made it back to my shelter, I did what I thought was appropriate. Unfortunately, I didn't see any security or any police to alert at the time. I was walking from the Q plot all the way to CMRC. I didn't see any security to stop and alert. And in the time and place of there being 1,000 students, of faculty, staff, whoever was on campus, my mind is not thinking, let me, go to try to find somebody. My thing is, I need to get out of the way. And there's a lot of non-sober people in the wrong mindset. And so it's like, I come from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This type of stuff unfortunately happens a lot of the time. And so my thinking went straight to, I've already been in a school shooting with Morgan. I need to just make sure I get out of the way and share this information. So
thank you for sharing your information. I would ask afterwards if you could, the chief will be talking with you more. Thank you for sharing what you did today. After the incident, you will recall in the press briefing in my letter that I sent out to the community, if anyone here or you know of someone who has additional information, there's an ongoing investigation. That kind of information is so vital to us getting to the root of what happened and to try to the best of our ability to prevent it. And I understand in the moment what was going on, but anyone sitting here today, if you have information, please come forward and share it and let us know so that we can do something about it. With regard to the conduct of officers, the chief will talk with you about that too. And when we know about something, we can do something. So if you see something, say something. Try to do whatever you can to keep us all safe. And let's make sure that going forward, this is what this is about, taking back our community, empowering ourselves, everyone around us, to say what needs to be said. It takes courage, it takes all kinds of gumption to get up and say what this young lady said. Thank you for letting us know here today. Thank you. At this time, I'm going to ask, first of all, for our shared governance groups, if you would please come forward. Ms. Deanna Perkins, SGA President, would you please join me? Is she still with us? Karik Jones, Vice President for SGA. Mabel to share with you a bit about SGA and how they help to serve the student population here. They will be followed by Ms. Linda Orejeko. She's the president of the Graduate Students Association, and then she will be followed by our faculty senate president, Dr. Taisha Burks, and then Mr. George Jones, head of staff council, in that order. So, welcome, students.
Greetings, everyone. I am Diane Perkins, and I proudly serve as the Student Government Association President for the academic year. Thank you. Just to give a little insight of what the position entails, one of my main goals is to advocate. I've been a part of SGA for the last 4 years, and Bowie has become my home away from home. Many of you may not know I'm actually an out-of-state student from Connecticut, so coming to Bowie, I've been my family here. I love Bowie. Bowie has always been an amazing place, a safe place as well, for the last 4 years that I have been living here. But not only am I an advocate, but students, you are as well. I can't be the only one that says anything. Harry can't be the only one that says something. You do too. The last few weeks, we've been working with not only ourselves, but with President Bro, Dean Jennings, and Dr. Clemens on working with the campus and making sure that we provide a safe environment. The model that has been used a lot lately for the last few days, if you see something, say something. So students, if you do see something, please say something, as well as alumni. I've heard a few comments from a few people saying that they've seen some students or outsiders doing inappropriate things. As family, which we've all been saying for the last few days, if you see a student doing something, please address them, please. As alumni, we want to connect with you. We want to build that relationship. We want to build that bond. We don't know how the old Bowie used to be. Half of us came during the COVID pandemic, so we don't really know what a full homecoming looks like, as well as this is the first full homecoming that was open not only to the public, but for family and friends as well, sorry. But yes, I appreciate everybody who has come out today, voicing your concerns, your problems, and the word that I've learned this summer from our advisor was grace. Please, 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 please have grace. This is something new for our campus that we are working diligently on trying to fix. It's something that we are not going to stop working on, and we are going to continue to fight and continue to make be better, bolder, and continue to be a family. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Linda Radikwe, and I'm trying to look at what my vice president is at. Great. My name is Linda Radikwe, and I am the president of the Graduate Students Association, popularly known as GSA Perfect. Hello, Cash. So, GSA, what we do is advocate for grad students, advocate for the graduate students here at Bowie State to ensure that they have the community, like Naya said, they have that community here to work with, but most importantly, to thrive. As a grad student, sometimes you might feel like you're doing this by yourself, but it's very important to know that you're not. And we are here to do that with you. We're here to work with you. We're here to do this very enlightenment journey together, right? That's what we do here at Bowie State as Grad Students Association, and we advocate by ensuring that our graduate students have the resources that they need to thrive. Bowie State, being privileged to be a part of the shared government, we have access, or we are aware of the access that we have to ensure that every single student, every single grad student, they have what they need to thrive. They have the resources that they need. Currently, we have 3 of our students who are going to Pittsburgh, to present their research And as we grow to be the art institution that we hope to become, we are hoping that students can come forth, if you're a grad student, you can come forward to say, oh, this is how I want to develop myself, Bowie State or the Grad Student Association. We have access, hopefully, to that resources to ensure that you get to do that. While this very tragic event has happened, like we've all heard, we don't want one event to deter us from the great things that's happening. We don't want one event to make us lose focus of what we can do and what we can become together. So as we do this, as we grow together here at Bowie State University, if you have any idea that you feel like graduate students can definitely benefit from, you can come to meet us and then we can work together to make that possible, hopefully.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Devin Cash. I serve as the Graduate Students Association Vice President. And to piggyback off my president, please, and to piggyback off the SGA president, grace, have grace with us. Please be here to help us advocate for not only some alums, some of the older generation of students, because I heard a young lady in the crowd that said at her young age of 55, she's still a student. Have grace, we're all still working, learning, work with the university, work with the president, work with yourself. You see something, say something. That goes really to the younger generation as well. Please don't let social media influence you on not saying something or not speaking up. You see something, you know something, speak up. This is our home, this is our campus, this is our university. We are all here to keep it safe, to keep it striving, to keep it going, and for more homecomings or more events in general to come and ensure the safety of others. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am Dr. Taisha Burks, the chair of the Faculty Senate and the University Council. As the Faculty Senate chair, I represent the voice of the faculty to ensure our collective needs are heard and addressed. The executive board and I work collaboratively with the administration on faculty relations and some academic affairs. The University Council is the ultimate example of shared governance at Bowie State. It consists of members of the SGA, GSA, Staff Council, Faculty Senate, and administration. And we address issues and policies that affect and impact the entire Bowie State campus. In light of recent events, in both of my roles, I will work with the faculty, staff, students, and administration to help the university heal and move forward. Remember that the faculty are a part of the Bowie State campus and community. We were concerned on Saturday night about our students who we consider our children, okay? We could not believe that it was happening on our campus at another HBCU in less than a week. We are impacted and we do stand with you. As the gentleman just said, faculty, students, staff, if you know something, please tell us. If you have ideas on how we move forward, on how we ensure the safety of all of us, please speak up. So many times we're in the corner with friends saying shoulda, coulda, woulda, but you don't tell the people who can actually make the difference. So please let someone know. And let's continue to be Bowie bold together.
Good afternoon to everyone. My name is George Jones, and I am the chair of the Bowie State University Staff Council and vice chair of the University Council here at Bowie State. In my position, we advocate for the voices of the staff here at Bowie State University, a segment of staff here at Bowie State University, and all staff work together. And, you know, one of the things I've been thinking about, not just here today, but since this incident occurred on Saturday, is that I think back to the initial, or the first group of staff that worked at Baltimore Normal School and then across the street when they came to Bowie here in 1911. Wonder what they would think about what's happening these days. And I came to this saying, and that is that, you know, truly we've come this far by faith, haven't we? And having said that, however, We are here now, and it's up to us, okay? It's up to us to carry that torch and that legacy. So what we do and what I do is to meet with the staff, meet with my board, and we collaborate with the university administration, the faculty senate, as well as the GSA and the SGA. And what we're trying to do, all of us, is to come to somewhat of what one would consider a best practice, because that's what we're trying to get to. So in saying that, I invite all staff here at the university, because the truth is, the staff truly are the backbone of this university. Without staff, you're not gonna have a university, quite frankly. So having said that, I just wanted to let colleagues know that if you're having any concerns or any issues, please feel free to reach out to me. And certainly we all can get together and get you what you need. Understanding that no one's perfect, we're not. We're striving for perfection, but we're gonna get there as best we can together. So with that, I say thank you to you all, and let's just pray for each other and understand that we've come truly this far. Thank you.
Thank you to each of our shared governance leaders for what you do each and every day throughout the year. We could not do what we are doing without you, without your constituents, all that you serve. And we thank you so very much. You put in very long hours, and I don't think most people realize the amount of time it takes to lead your organization. So I thank you. And Dr. Burks is doing double duty as she serves as the chair for University Council, as well as the Faculty Senate. So please give them all a round of applause. We have come to the end of this program, but I do want to pick up on what Mr. Jones was just saying about we have not come this far without having our faith. And as you look at the seal here, it includes the flame of faith and the torch of truth. As you go forward outside of this venue today and each day, please carry forward that flame to light the way. We are here to ensure opportunity for our students, as our ancestors have done for over 150 years. We owe it to our students and generations to come to stay together, united as one community. Please don't let this be the end of when we come together and talk to one another. There might be people in this room you've never met before. Before you leave here, say hello to your neighbor. And yes, we're known when you walk across the campus, we say hello to people. We make sure that we let our students and everyone know, I see you. You're not just a number, you're not just someone sitting in that seat. You are somebody who we care about, and you're part of our community. So before we adjourn today, I have one favor to ask of you. If you all please rise and stand and lock arms together. There are individuals who are healing in the hospital as we speak. I ask that we take a moment of silence to think about their healing. There are people in this room who need healing. There are people across this campus who need healing. Our neighbors at Bowie State University, they need healing. They need us to lift them up. There are other members of our HBCU communities across this nation. Lift them up. There are people who are struggling in our society. Lift them up. And with that, I ask you for a moment of silence. Thank you, everyone. Please have a wonderful, wonderful remainder of the semester. Thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing the education.
Recording stopped.